God, please send us a Tom Beers. I have no idea who Tom Beers is. I don't know who Tom Beers is.
Storage Wars was never just about dusty storage lockers and surprise treasures. It was also about the people, the big personalities, the rivalries, the laughs, the quiet moments when someone found something that meant more than money. Over the years, the show introduced us to all kinds of characters. Some were competitive and loud, others were calm and strategic, and some were just there to have fun. But one thing they all had in common was that they brought the show to life. Fans came back week after week, not only to see what was inside the lockers, but also to see the familiar faces they had grown to love. Unfortunately, as time went on, a number of those faces disappeared from the screen, not because they quit, but because their lives were tragically cut short. These losses hit the audience hard, because it felt like losing a friend you'd invited into your home for years. One of the most well-known names on the show, Dave Hester, was a big part of its early success. His loud signature "yoop" could be heard echoing across the auction lot whenever he wanted to claim a bid. Dave was competitive and confident, and he knew how to win, which made him a key figure in the show's drama. But in 2012, things took a turn when Dave accused the show of staging certain finds to make it more exciting. He even took his claims to court, which led to his temporary removal from the cast. Eventually he returned, but not long after, his health suffered a major blow. Dave experienced a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding in the brain, caused by high blood pressure and sleep apnea. One moment he was active on TV, and the next he was in a hospital bed, unable to speak or move. The doctors weren't sure if he'd survive. Against the odds, Dave pulled through, but the incident left fans shaken. Also sparked whispers of a so-called Storage Wars curse. Several cast members began facing sudden health issues or tragedies. Another loss that deeply affected fans was the death of Mark Balelo, known as Rico Suavé, for his stylish outfits and flashy personality. Mark was a bold bidder who walked into auctions with stacks of cash, ready to win. But behind his confident smile, he was dealing with personal struggles. Just 2 days before his passing, Mark had been arrested for drug possession and being under the influence. His fiancée, Elizabeth, stayed with him to provide comfort, thinking he was improving. Sadly, the next day, Mark was found in his car, parked inside his business garage, having died from carbon monoxide poisoning. He was only 40 years old. Mark's career had been full of highlights, from running his own auction business to famously finding a stolen Action Comics #1, Superman comic, and returning it to actor Nicolas Cage. His death was a painful reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and that we never truly know what someone is going through. Gunter Nezhoda was another unforgettable personality. Joining the show alongside his son Rene, Gunter's friendly nature and easygoing humor quickly made him a fan favorite. Sadly, at 67, he passed away after a battle with lung cancer. Rene shared the heartbreaking news in a video, explaining that years of smoking had taken a toll on Gunter's lungs, and despite surgery, his body could no longer fight. Gunter was more than a TV figure. He was a talented photographer, a skilled bass player who performed with well-known musicians, and an actor in a handful of films. Born in Austria, he eventually moved to Las Vegas, where he built a life filled with music, art, and family. His presence on the show may have been shorter compared to others, but the warmth he brought left a permanent mark on both viewers and colleagues. Another cast member who left us too soon was Maurice "Mo" Prigoff. From Storage Wars, Texas, Mo was instantly recognizable for his colorful clothing, cheerful personality, and lighthearted humor. But there was much more to him than his TV image. In addition to being a skilled buyer and seller, Mo was a respected podiatrist, a foot doctor, who ran a medical practice for years. He also owned a store called River Regency Modern in Dallas, where he sold rare furniture, artwork, and other unique pieces he collected. On the show, he often teamed up with Mary Patillon, and the two became a memorable duo. But behind the scenes, Mo was a devoted husband to his wife of 19 years, Michaela, and he loved music, art, gardening, and traveling. Sadly, after battling a long illness for 6 years, Mo passed away on March 4, 2021. Fans remembered him not just as a bitter, but as a man who brought style, intelligence, and joy into a business, often associated with dust and junk. Brandon Sheets, son of veteran bidder Daryl Sheets, was another familiar face. Fans loved watching the father-son duo work together, mixing Daryl's experience with Brandon's youthful energy. But in 2017, budget cuts forced Brandon off the show, even though Daryl stayed. Brandon tried different jobs, including real estate, before becoming a truck driver for UPS. Tragically, while working, Brandon was involved in a serious accident that nearly claimed his life. Although he survived, his absence from the show and his reduced public presence left fans concerned and saddened. His story is a reminder that life can change drastically in just a single moment. Barry Weiss was one of the most unique personalities ever to appear on Storage Wars, nicknamed the Collector. Barry wasn't in it for profit, he bought lockers because he enjoyed the thrill of the hunt. Known for his quirky outfits, vintage cars, an eccentric approach to auctions, Barry became a fan favorite almost instantly. After leaving the show, Barry was involved in a serious motorcycle accident in 2019 that left him with multiple broken bones and other injuries. Though he survived and slowly recovered, the accident marked a major turning point in his life. While Barry is still alive, his absence from regular appearances has been felt deeply by fans who grew attached to his fun-loving energy. Daryl Sheets himself, known as the Gambler for his risky bidding style, has faced health scares too. In 2019, he suffered a heart attack that required emergency surgery. Though he pulled through, the experience forced him to slow down and take better care of his health. Daryl's larger-than-life personality had been a staple of the show since the beginning, so the thought of losing him hit fans hard, even though he thankfully survived. Kenny Stowe, another Storage Wars buyer, might not have been as widely known as some of the main cast, but he still had a loyal following. Kenny brought his own style to auctions and was well liked by those who knew him. His sudden passing shocked the community, serving as another reminder of how fragile life can be. Details about his death were limited, but the loss was still felt by the Storage Wars family and fans, beyond the regular cast. There were other personalities connected to the Storage Wars world who also passed away too soon. Auctioneers, guest bidders, and behind-the-scenes crew members all contributed to the show's charm, even if they weren't on screen as often. Every loss was a blow to the tight-knit auction community. Fans often came together on social media to share memories, clips, and tributes. One of the things that made Storage Wars special was that it wasn't just about buying storage lockers. It was about the relationships between the people. We saw rivalries, friendships, partnerships, even moments of compassion between bidders who were supposed to be competing against each other. That's why these losses hit so hard. It wasn't just about losing a TV character. It was about losing someone we'd spent years watching, someone whose quirks and catchphrases had become part of the show's identity. The passing of figures like Dave Hester's close call with death, Mark Balelo's tragic end, Gunter Nezhoda's fight with cancer, Mo Prigoff's illness, Brandon Sheets' accident, and others paint a bittersweet picture. The show brought them fame and connection with fans, but it also reminded us that life is unpredictable. Fame doesn't protect anyone from illness, accidents, or personal struggles. In fact, being in the public eye can sometimes make those struggles harder to face. Even with these tragedies, Storage Wars continues to have a loyal fan base. People still watch old episodes, not just for the thrill of finding hidden treasures, but also to revisit moments with the cast members they miss. In a way, those episodes serve as a time capsule, preserving their personalities, laughter, and memorable moments forever. Fans can still hear Dave's yoop, see Mark's confident bids, watch Gunter's easy smile, or enjoy Mo's colorful wardrobe and quick wit. These moments keep their memory alive. The legacy of these Storage Wars members is not just in the items they found or the money they made, but in the way they entertained, inspired, and connected with people. For some viewers, watching these episodes feels like catching up with old friends. And while it's hard to accept that some of those friends are gone, their stories, both the happy moments and the struggles, are part of what makes Storage Wars such a lasting piece of reality TV history. In the end, the real treasures of Storage Wars were never the antiques, collectibles, or rare finds hidden in dusty lockers. They were the people with all their energy, charm, flaws, and humor, who turned a simple auction into something fans could care about: losing. Them has left empty spaces that can never truly be filled, but the memories they created will always be worth holding on to. Not every treasure found in Storage Wars came from dusty old storage lockers. Some of the real treasures were the people themselves, the personalities that kept fans watching for years. They argued, laughed, took big risks, and shared moments. That made us feel like we knew them personally. But life behind the scenes wasn't always filled with the excitement we saw on TV, away from the cameras. Several of the show's most beloved members faced tragedies, life-threatening accidents, and heartbreaking losses. Some of them are no longer with us, and others barely survived to tell the tale. These stories show the human side of reality TV and remind us how quickly life can change. We start with Brandon Sheets, known by fans as the son of Daryl, the Gambler Sheets. In early 2022, Brandon shared a shocking post on Instagram. He uploaded a picture of a wrecked-up semi-truck and explained what happened that night. He had been asleep in the back while his partner was off for the day, and a different co-driver filled in. That driver, going 70 miles per hour, crashed into another truck. Brandon woke up to chaos all around him. He said it felt like a bomb had gone off. He was rushed to a Texas hospital, then sent home to Arizona to recover. Physically, his injuries were minor, but emotionally it was something he would never forget. The worst part for him was what came afterward. According to Brandon, Ups gave him no workers' compensation, didn't replace the things he lost in the crash, and showed little concern. He said the accident could have been avoided with better training, especially for long-haul drivers working in teams. His experience was not only a personal tragedy but also a warning about workplace safety. What makes Brandon's story even stranger is that it wasn't the first time tragedy touched his family. His father, Daryl Sheets, had his own close brush with death years earlier. Known for his bold betting style on the show, Daryl faced a severe health crisis in 2019. After feeling sick for months, he suffered a mild heart attack. Doctors then discovered congestive heart failure and a serious lung condition.
Wow. The news
Was devastating, and surgery was the only option. 1 month later, Daryl shared that his heart function had improved to 40%, enough to remove the defibrillator vest he had been wearing. It was a relief, but he admitted he wasn't completely safe yet. Online rumors later falsely claimed Daryl had died, but he was still alive, even starting a new business called Show Me Your Junk in Havasu, Arizona. Still, the health scare changed him, and fans could see the difference. These father and son near-death experiences were just the beginning of the dark side of Storage Wars. Another unforgettable story belongs to Don Dodson, one of the show's most recognizable auctioneers. Long before Storage Wars, Dan had built a reputation in the auction business, running American Auctioneers with his wife Laura. The two were a fixture on the show, known for their quick talking, sharp instincts, and the energy they brought to every auction. But in 2014, their lives changed in an instant. Don began complaining of a terrible headache. His speech became jumbled, and Laura noticed his skin turning a bluish green. His legs were giving out, and his eyes rolled back. It was terrifying to watch. Laura immediately called for help, and doctors soon discovered the cause to brain aneurysms at the same time. Most people don't survive that, but Dan was lucky. Minimal bleeding gave doctors a chance to treat him, and he pulled through. Lying in a hospital bed afterward, Don told Laura, "Guess what? I'm a non-smoker now." It was his way of promising to take better care of himself. But the Dodsons' trials didn't end there. In 2022, they faced every parent's nightmare. Their son Garrett, only 22, was visiting his girlfriend in Arizona when he was shot. Somehow, despite his injuries, Garrett managed to call 911. The bullet had torn into his vena cava, one of the body's largest veins, causing massive internal bleeding. A doctor had to physically hold his heart together while he was flown to Las Vegas for emergency surgery. Against all odds, he survived. Dan and Laura later said they were deeply grateful for the team of people who kept their son alive that day. Sadly, Garrett's shooting wasn't the only time Storage Wars cast members faced danger. Brandy Passante, who joined the show in Season 1, became one of its most popular stars. Known for her quick wit and partnership with Gerard Schultz, she even got a spin-off in 2014 called Brandy and Gerard. It's married to the job, but fame brought problems she never expected. In 2020, Brandy revealed she had received disturbing letters from strangers. The messages were so threatening that she moved into a gated community with full-time security. It left her anxious and afraid to leave the house. With therapy and time, she began to feel safe again, but the experience changed her view of fame forever. Then there's Barry Weiss, the show's eccentric collector who never cared about profit, only about finding unusual treasures. In 2019, Barry was involved in a serious motorcycle accident in Los Angeles. He and a friend crashed into a car, and Barry's injuries were so severe that rumors quickly spread about his death. Thankfully, he survived, but it was a close call. That reminded fans just how fragile life can be. One of the most talked about personal dramas from the Storage Wars world was the breakup between Brandy Passante and Gerard Schultz. They were never married, despite the title of their spin-off suggesting otherwise. But they spent years together raising their kids and building a life around storage auctions. By season 13, they revealed on air that their relationship had ended. Though they continued to work together for the show, for a while it seemed the split was peaceful. No public fights, just two people moving on. But in May 2021, TMZ reported that Gerard had been charged with domestic violence after an alleged altercation with Brandy at a bar in Orange County. According to reports, Brandy asked him to leave multiple times, but things escalated. Gerard stayed silent publicly, and fans were left unsure what to believe. Brandy later posted a photo of a new tattoo that read "Free," saying it symbolized surviving a situation that could have broken her. It was a statement of resilience and a clear sign that her life had changed. Beyond these headline-making moments, Storage Wars has also seen real losses. Some connected to the show's extended family have passed away quietly without public attention, leaving gaps in the hearts of friends, family, and fans. While these moments didn't make TV, they remind us that behind the storage lockers and bidding wars are real people with real lives, lives that can be turned upside down in an instant. Whether it's medical emergencies, violent attacks, tragic deaths, or personal betrayals. The stories of the Storage Wars cast members reveal a side of reality television that's far from glamorous. They've survived heart attacks, shootings, accidents, and heartbreak, often returning to the auction block with the same determination as before. These experiences have shaped them, making them not just TV personalities, but survivors. While fans love the thrill of a big storage win, it's the human stories, the moments of struggle and triumph that truly stay with us. So which of these moments shocked you the most? Do you think Storage Wars will ever be the same after these events? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep look into the lives of your favorite cast members, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out more stories on this channel. There's always more to uncover, both in storage lockers and in the lives of the people who open them. Extra 1,000 words unique expansion, while many Storage Wars fans remember the big personalities, the laughter, and the thrill of high-stakes auctions, there's a deeper layer of stories that rarely make it into the spotlight. These are moments that happen away from the storage lockers, moments that tested the resilience of the people we saw on screen. Some of these events reshaped their lives in ways that fans might never fully realize. Take Brandon Sheets, for example. Viewers knew him as the younger half of the father-son duo with Daryl Sheets. On the show, he often played the role of the eager learner, building his own style while still under his father's shadow. Off-screen, though, Brandon's UPS trucking job was far from the Hollywood spotlight. The crash that nearly killed him didn't just leave him shaken physically, it also changed how he looked at trust and safety in the workplace. Friends have said that for months after, Brandon would flinch at sudden loud noises, and sleeping through the night was difficult. That night on the road became a permanent reminder that life can change in the blink of an eye, even when you think you're safe. His father. Daryl had his own transformation after his 2019 health scare. Known for his competitive nature and go big or go home bidding style, Daryl wasn't one to slow down until his body forced him to. Friends in the auction community remembered that after surgery, he became more reflective. He started talking more about family, health, and the importance of catching problems early. His son's later accident only deepened that awareness. In interviews, Daryl has said that the combination of both events, his heart failure and Brandon's crash, reminded him that no amount of money or big wins could replace health and safety. Then there's the Dodson family, Dan and Laura, their marriage and business partnership have been at the center of storage wars since the early seasons, with their rapid-fire auction calls becoming a signature sound of the show. But their personal life has been marked by brushes with tragedy that could have ended it all. Dan's aneurysms in 2014 were already a rare and deadly double strike. Surviving that gave him a new appreciation for everyday life. Son Garrett was shot in 2022. The family entered a completely different kind of nightmare. Garrett's recovery wasn't instant. It involved multiple surgeries, months of rehab, and the mental toll of surviving such violence. Laura has spoken about how the experience pulled their family even closer together, but also left them more cautious. She became outspoken about the importance of acting quickly in emergencies, knowing firsthand how precious each second can be. Brandy Pasante's experience with stalkers and threats shows another kind of danger that comes with fame. While she's often portrayed as strong, confident, and ready to speak her mind, the reality of living with constant fear was exhausting. She later shared that moving into a gated community wasn't just for her safety, it was also for her children. Her decision was about protecting them from people whose attention had crossed a dangerous line. Even after regaining her sense of security, Brandy has been more private about her personal life, choosing carefully what to share online. This shift was a quiet but noticeable change for fans who once saw her as one of the most accessible personalities. On the show, Barry Weiss, the collector, has always been a mystery to fans. His wealth, his wild vehicles, and his refusal to take the auctions too seriously made him stand out. But after his 2019 motorcycle crash, Barry's public appearances slowed down. Those who know him say that while he still enjoys collecting and exploring, he became more careful. The crash had caused multiple broken bones, internal injuries, and a long recovery period. Even though he kept his humor about the situation, it was a stark reminder that his adventures weren't without risk. His absence from storage wars after the accident left a gap that fans still talk about today. And then there's the complicated history between Brandy and Jared Schultz. For years, they were the on-screen couple people rooted for playful banter, competitive bidding, and a shared determination to make their business work. But behind the scenes, their relationship was struggling. When news broke of the alleged domestic violence incident in 2021, it shocked fans who had believed in their chemistry. Brandy's free tattoo wasn't just a personal statement. It was a declaration to her audience that she was moving forward on her own terms. Since then, she has continued to appear on the show, but her storyline is more independent, reflecting her life away from Jared. The truth is, Storage Wars has always been about more than storage units. Each cast member brought their own life experiences, personalities, and challenges to the screen. And while we often saw them in moments of victory, uncovering rare items, winning big bids, these behind-the-scenes tragedies add depth to their public images. It's a reminder that reality TV stars aren't immune to the same dangers, illnesses, and heartbreaks that affect everyone else. Some of these stories also highlight an important theme: resilience. Whether it's Brandon returning to work after his crash, Daryl pushing forward after heart surgery, Dan and Laura standing by their son's hospital bed, or Brandy rebuilding her life after threats and personal upheaval, each one shows a refusal to let tragedy define them. For fans, that's part of what makes these stories so compelling. They're not just cautionary tales. They're examples of survival and adaptation. Even years after some of these events, their impact is still felt. The cast members have learned to appreciate the quiet moments, the days without drama or danger. They've also become more aware of how quickly everything can be taken away. And for fans watching at home, knowing what these personalities have endured adds an extra layer of meaning to every episode. When you see Dan calling an auction, Barry rolling up in a wild car, or Brandy making a sharp bid, you're not just watching TV. You're watching people who've faced real challenges and kept going. The next time you see an episode of Storage Wars, it's worth remembering that the treasures found in those lockers are only part of the story. The real value lies in the human stories, in the struggles, recoveries, and triumphs of the people who risk more than just their money every time they step into an auction. These experiences, both the joyful and the tragic, are what make them. More than just characters on a screen, they make them real.